So Donaldson, what are you doing?
Beautiful, beautiful. All hands on deck, all hands clapping, all hands working together. My name is Peter Donaldson. I'm the Director of Learning for our awesome organization, Sustainability Ambassadors. And we learn a lot. We learn fast. We learn to apply what we learn across generations, jurisdictions, and community sectors. We rapidly learn to advance a sustainable future. And we have lots of help. Miller Hull Architectural Partners and Dykeman Architect and Design have continued to invest in our Green Building Teacher Fellows Program, focused on green building, clean energy, and affordable housing and urban design. King County Wastewater Treatment Division, thank you very much, has awarded us several grants to support problem-based learning for middle school and high school teachers in the Green Duwamish watershed school districts, and also to support water quality infrastructure and the planning for our future in additional school districts. The Rose Foundation and the Russell Family Foundation have provided ongoing support for our twin programs of student learning and teacher learning. And Cascade Water Alliance has been a huge and important partner for 4 years running in supporting our problem-based learning for water systems. Again, focused on middle school and high school teachers, because that's the age of initiation. These are the ambassadors that we work with. And then there's you. There's 3 things you can do tonight. One is learn. Learn and then do something with what you learn. Second thing is you can donate. We have a $1,000 challenge grant by our friends Greg Gunther. Thank you, Greg, and his wife, Peggy Rogers. Thank you, Peggy. And we're almost there. It ends, this challenge grant. We got to match it. No donations too small or too big. We got to match it by 9 p.m. tonight, and we're almost there. Anytime tonight you feel inspired, so inspired, you just need to like move sideways to our website, then go there to sustainabilityambassadors.org and make a donation. You'll have some time after the presentations as well. The third thing you can do tonight, solarize. We have a fantastic partnership with a man named Edwin Wanji and his team at Sphere Solar Energy. Tonight, we're going to show you how to place your call to Edwin and his team for a free home evaluation for going solar. It's fascinating. It's cheap. I did it. Edwin did my house. And now I not only have free energy, it's paying for itself within a couple of about 7 years, and I'm making money. We're an energy producer in our neighborhood. and I'm going door to door telling my neighbors about it. You can be part of that because it's a big, big change in our footprint if we all solarize. You'll hear a lot more about that tonight, how you can be involved. So let's remember how to do this. Let's remember how to do this together. Let's remember how to take responsibility for the land and the water and the soil and the food and for each other. We begin this evening's program with a message from Harini about the importance of native land acknowledgement.
Hello, my name is Harini Bosker. I'm a rising sophomore at Redmond High School in the Lake Washington School District. Native land acknowledgement is an important practice of respect and healing. In Australia, Canada, and among tribal nations in the US, it is commonplace, even policy, to open gatherings by acknowledging the traditional inhabitants of that land. Imagine this practice widely adopted. Imagine cultural venues, classrooms, conference settings, and town halls acknowledging traditional lands. Millions of Americans would be exposed for the very first time. This is important because Native communities remain at the forefront of movements to protect Mother Earth, our water, and the life that sustains all of us. Here is a map reconstructing the historical locations of Native villages in Puget Sound. Notice that all of the villages are located around important salmon rivers. For more than 5,000 years, Native communities have demonstrated resilience in the face of violent efforts to separate them from their land, culture, and each other. To learn more, go to nativeland.ca, and you can zoom in on Washington, explore these relationships. The first features all of the traditional territories. The second is a language map that reflects association of kinship and trade. And the third map shows the arbitrary boundaries of treaties, the ceding of lands, and the forced relocation to reservations. At Sustainability Ambassadors, we have adopted the following statement. We acknowledge the land on which we are now standing, our homes and neighborhoods, our schools, our office buildings, our parks, patches of forest and farmland, our cities, and the streams and watersheds that weave together the landscape we call home. Was and is the traditional home of the Coast Salish people, the tribes and bands within the Duwamish, Squamish, Tulalip, and Muckleshoot nations. We take this opportunity to thank the original stewards of this land and to walk with their descendants, humans, and all species of our shared bioregion. We pledge in our own individual and collective way to care for the land far into the future.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Harini. Hello, I'm Zach Benzawi, and I've been in Sustainability Ambassadors since May of 2014. I started as a tiny 7th grader, and here I am 6 years later. I'll be an incoming freshman at George Washington University this fall. At Sustainability Ambassadors, we work to rapidly advance a sustainable future. We do this by empowering youth to catalyze community sustainability. We do this by empowering teachers to integrate rigor with relevance in the classroom for real-world impact. We do this by empowering our community to drive collective impact. And we do this because we must rapidly advance the innovations needed for a much more sustainable future, and we must do so as fast as we can. A future where textbooks are obsolete, a future where grades are silly, a future where students are designing real-world projects with the help of their peers and the guidance of their teachers. This is our future.
Thank you for that, Zach. Just a quick technical note, I can't start my video right now, but I will tell you about our sustainable systems thinking. My name's Gargi, and I'll be an incoming freshman at the University of Washington this fall. We organize our work around the worldwide accepted definition of sustainability, meeting the needs of the current generation without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. All of our programs, projects, and collective impact reporting protocols are based on what we like to call the Sustainable Systems Sandwich. The bread on top of the sandwich represents the specter of climate change, informing necessary actions and innovative design that we have to accomplish in our systems. The ingredients of the sandwich represent innovations in energy, water, food, green building, transportation, and materials management systems for our circular economy. Just like how all the ingredients of a sandwich come together to create that perfect bite, sustainable systems work together to stop climate change. Just like how sustainable systems must be grounded in a deep understanding of the intersectionality of the environment, economy, and equity, they must be truly sustainable if they meet these needs. And the bottom slice of bread represents that intersection. It ties our systems together and keeps them from falling apart as we bite into this work, chew, digest, metabolize, and move forward to create a sustainable future.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nazla Dakad, and I have been with Sustainability Ambassadors since June of 2016. This fall, I will be an incoming freshman at Stanford University. Since the beginning of my time with Sustainability Ambassadors, I've been trained to learn and do simultaneously. This means as I was grappling with what it means to push King County to be more sustainable, I was also leading my green team in my high school, supported directly by Sustainability Ambassadors. Throughout my time with Sustainability Ambassadors, I have been treated as a colleague, whether it's with Peter, coaches, teachers, or other adult leaders. This has fueled my sense of belonging, and it has made Sustainability Ambassadors my primary learning community outside the classroom. Now, my experience is not unique. Sustainability Ambassadors trains all of its learning community to learn and do at the same time, whether it's students, teachers, or coaches. In this pursuit, we focus on 4 actions. 1, we design systems that decentralize decision-making. In practice, this means we have student project leaders and school district team leaders that work alongside teachers, coaches, interns, and adult leadership. 2, we develop programs and actions that support localized needs. Building sustainable communities is a global issue. However, we believe we have the most impact on a local scale, facilitating events and programs like school district summits. 3, we learn rapidly as a broad coalition of empowered changemakers. Like myself, every single member of our learning community is empowered to push for a sustainable future. And lastly, we practice collective impact by measuring program efficacy in context of improved community conditions. We are data-driven in tracking changes by using metrics and goals that align with city, county, and regional standards. This means we do a lot of looking at city plans. Now, what does this look like exactly? Here you can see a diagram of our organization with youth at the center. As youth, we are the future. We are the COVID generation, and we are in charge of holding our communities accountable for being sustainable and being able to support future generations. Outside the youth, we have our parent network who support us every single day. Our teacher network is crucial to our collective impact. Each teacher reaches 150 students. On the outer rim, we have our coaching network. Our coaches advise us and allow us to further develop our systems thinking. They also build direct connections to green careers. Now we have the 4 outside circles. These are our partners that overlap in our community. Our community partners are organizations that we admire. Our institutional partners include Cascade Water Alliance, the Port of Seattle, King County, and multiple city partners that we have representatives in. Both Zach and I served on our respective youth boards. We also have several industry partners like Microsoft, Miller Hill Architects, Dykeman Architects, and a range of partnerships in development. Finally, we have our funding partners, as Peter mentioned before. All of these groups make up our growing learning community.
Thank you, Nazla. My name is Nick Wegener, and this fall I will be a 9th grader at East Lake High School in Lake Washington School District. As individuals and as an organization, this is our commitment to equity, diversity, and inclusion. Commitment 1. All participants in our organization will understand the relationship between equity, diversity, and inclusion, and we will build and assess our programs accordingly. Commitment 2. In everything we do, we will publicly reinforce that what we mean by sustainability is the triple bottom line: a vibrant local economy, a healthy environment, and equitable outcomes for all. Commitment 3. We will fund internships that engage and employ emerging young leaders of color from marginalized communities. EDI interns will be responsible for designing actions that improve local conditions as they expand workforce skills for the emerging green jobs economy. Commitment 4. We will cultivate sustainable systems coaches from diverse lived experiences to mentor the youth we work with. And commitment number 5. We will develop long-term learning partnerships in collaboration with community-based organizations with missions that are similarly focused on youth leadership, development, and rapidly advancing a sustainable future. Commitment 6. We will partner with industry, local government, and academia to develop a robust Green Jobs Pathways portal to build a workforce that looks like the community we live in. Commitment number 7. We will prioritize hiring new staff out of these programs, contacts, and networks. Commitment 8. We will co-facilitate learning circles on privilege, environmental justice, and equitable outcomes for all of our students, staff, coaches, teachers, parents, and partners. This is our commitment.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mahathi Manjipudi, a senior at Interlake High School in the Bellevue School District. Our Sustainability Ambassadors Climate Action Plan is what frames the work we do as an organization. This plan is the culmination of 1.5 years of planning, strategizing, and practicing what we preach. Tonight, you all get to see the premiere as what our plan will appear like when we publish these pages on our website. The problem that motivates our climate action plan is this. The King County Cities Climate Collaboration set a goal for a 25% reduction in carbon emissions by 2020. However, as you can see on the graph, we did not meet this goal this year. The way we address this problem is by looking and organizing around 4 key goals of our own. First, we benchmark current conditions through learning from local government and organizations. Once we understand the status quo, we identify and prioritize steps to improve current conditions, typically through the creation and implementation of student-led impact projects. Once we put these projects into action, we measure the progress we make and compare the progress we've made with city and county goals. Collecting all this data, we communicate to stakeholders that are invested in these issues to maximize our progress. But while the work we do is incredibly important, we also recognize that learning from and with other community organizations through our collective impact will critically drive down our emissions, which is why we've built in organizations we admire right into our plan. Whether it's organizations like Front and Center that offer an equity lens, or research conducted by Climate Solutions and Project Drawdown, or even the importance of local government action and civic engagement with the King County and People for Climate Action, together we can drive down carbon emissions. The Sustainability Ambassadors Climate Action Plan is our declaration, our commitment as student leaders to the earth and each other. We are not waiting for local government to create a change. Instead, we're working alongside them to not make a mark on our community, but to remove our footprint from the environment.
Lead by example. Practice what we preach. How do we do that? Let's talk about that a bit more. Thank you, Mahathi. My name is Anuj Krovidi, and I go to Inglewood Middle School in the Lake Washington School District. The Personal Footprint Campaign is an instrumental part of the Climate Action Plan. The Personal Footprint Campaign is a practice model for taking data-driven action based on reducing our carbon and water footprint. We, as sustainability ambassadors, strongly believe that we should lead by example, by showing the world how they can start making change. They will follow the example, and we can start changing the world. When we walk into a city council meeting, we want to show that our organization has started to make changes in our lifestyle, and we want people to mirror that, and then we can start inspiring change. This practice is what shows that we, as sustainability ambassadors, can lead by example.
Thanks, Anuj. My name is Fiona, and I represent the City of Kirkland and the Private School Network. Emblematic of sustainability, installing solar panels is one of the biggest ways we can decrease our carbon emissions. The Solar Neighborhood Challenge outlines our strategy to harness the power of solarizing our neighborhoods. Its goals are to solarize everything, educate our communities on the benefits of solar, and push policy to make solar installation easier. To do so, we have partnered with Sphere Solar Energy, the first Black-owned solar business in Washington. We have worked together to bring you the resources you need to go solar. Here's what you need to know. First, a standard 12 kilowatt solar installation offsets around 16,000 pounds of carbon per year, which is equivalent to planting 345 trees. Second, for every 30 homes that go solar, Sphere Solar dedicates funds to building a $30,000 solar-powered water pump at a school in Kenya, which teaches students from 3 Maasai tribes. Third, energy prices are projected to skyrocket, and solar panels will ensure the price of your energy stays the same. Fourth, investing in solar right now means that you can save between 42 and 48% off of your solar installation. This number is the summation of a tax break and other discounts through local government and this challenge. Okay, here's the exciting part. Sphere Solar offers free, social distanced consultations to evaluate your roof for solar and tell you exactly how much a solar system will help you save. For more information and to schedule your free consultation, go to the Sustainability Ambassador website and click the links you see on your screen. Financially and morally, now is the time to jump on solar energy.
Thank you for that exciting report, Fiona. That's really inspiring. When I joined the Bellevue team in 2015, I was the sole member. Now we have representation in every high school in the Bellevue School District. Over the years, we've grown and have led multiple projects, one of our most impactful being the Town Hall at School, a practicum in high school civics education and sustainable systems thinking. The purpose is to empower students with the knowledge and skills to meet academic standards in the context of improving sustainable community conditions. This event was the first of its kind in Ambassadors, and we were so excited. We collaborated with the City of Bellevue to have this project bring in input on the development of their Environmental Stewardship Initiative, or ESI. We worked with science and social studies teachers from Bellevue High School to deliver this event to 50 of their students. We planned it to a T. And then COVID-19 hit. We had to host the entire event virtually, and it still worked. The curriculum started with introducing students to what sustainable systems planning was and how it was being done in their own city. Then, students took a look at Bellevue's ESI and how it was informing the city's policymaking, planning, and jobs. Now that students knew what sustainable systems planning looked like in general and in their own city, they were challenged to create impact projects that would measurably improve sustainable community conditions. And create they did. A quarter of our students educated themselves about green habits, trying plant-based diets, reducing unnecessary purchases, and using their car less. Another quarter made their families reduce waste, water, and energy consumption with efficient appliances and habits. And despite being stuck at home, 50% of students created projects that influenced their communities. They created campaigns to encourage their neighborhoods, the school board, and the city council to encourage actions that would improve systems planning. It was clear that students knew how to improve sustainable systems, and this is exactly what the town hall was meant to do. Educate and empower youth to make actionable change. Our virtual town hall is a model that included city staff, city council members, and King County Council member Claudia Balducci. It's already made waves in the Bellevue community and beyond. At this stage, several schools in the Lake Washington School District are interested in bringing the model to their own classrooms.
Thanks for that fantastic report, Gargi. The Lake Washington team is one of the largest and longest established teams in ambassadors. There are currently 18 ambassadors representing 4 middle and 5 high schools in the district. Our team plans and leads 2 key events every year, our Sustainability Kickoff in the fall and the Community Summit in the spring. In total, we've hosted 6 kickoffs since fall of 2014 and 4 community summits since spring of 2016. And over all this time, we've engaged a total of 271 students coming from nearly every corner of the district. They've represented 6 out of the 7 high schools, 12 out of the 14 middle schools, and 8 out of the 29 elementary schools in our school district. At our fall kickoffs, student leaders in attendance are engaged in project management strategies and develop year-long work plans to foster sustainable action in their schools and communities. At the Community Summit, we convene student and teacher leaders, school district personnel, local government, businesses, and community leaders to engage in an annual progress report on sustainable conditions in our communities. Microsoft has been a key partner with our district and has been a gracious host since the event's inception in spring of 2016. At the summit, community representatives are expected to give crisp and professional presentations addressing what they've done to drive sustainability and what they plan to do moving forward. We use this format to inspire positive peer pressure and community-wide accountability. Summits are also a time for community planning. Members in attendance reflect on current progress and decide what type of action needs to happen in the next 12 months to generate the greatest measurable impact in our community. One idea that came out of our 2017 summit was the need for a stronger PTSA presence in the district, and it resulted in the creation of a new PTSA sustainability chair position in each school, which is a fantastic pilot unique to the Lake Washington School District. PTSA sustainability chairs have been a driving force for action in our school district. The position has grown from 17 chairs at the end of its first year in 2019 to nearly 30 chairs confirmed for the 2021 school year. Chairs have been directly involved in high-level sustainable action in our schools, including the implementing no idle zone policies at our schools, stopping the use of toxic weed-killing ingredients on school grounds, donating food from school kitchens before all school breaks, implementing a food recovery and donation pilot at select schools in the district, and securing a half stipend to green team leaders at all elementary schools. We hope to replicate the success of the PTSA Sustainability Chair in other school districts with PTSA partners. The Lake Washington School District team will also continue to build partnerships within our community, and we're ready to find online alternatives for our exciting events in the coming months. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. My name is Sophia Leota, and I am a rising senior at Inglemoor High School in the North Shore School District. Our district's involvement with sustainability ambassadors began a couple years ago in 2017. We are currently a 3-member team. Since 2 of us go to Inglemoor High School, a lot of our accomplishments have centered around there, with one of the most notable being our switching to metal utensils in the cafeteria, an initiative that was began by Ambassador Aditi Jain. Following that, we hosted a 2019 NSD Sustainability Summit, which brought together over 40 middle schoolers and high schoolers and PTSA members and city council members to talk about sustainability, to talk about where we were and where we wanted to be. Now, this was really interesting because it was the first time that we all came together to discuss our shared goals and how we were going to reach them. It was incredibly successful, and that is why one of our goals moving forward is to develop these networks more. This, paired with district-wide sustainability initiatives, is the key to fostering big impact. And that's why we're going to also take models that we know work, such as reusable utensils, and implement it throughout the district, making sure that we have a large impact. This also means looking at other school districts, such as Lake Washington School District, and taking systems that we know work and implementing them here, such as the PTSA Sustainability Committee. A big part of our goals, too, is making sure that we are engaging all students, that we are recruiting students from different areas within our district, and focusing on their needs and what they want in terms of sustainability. That's why moving forward, we plan to recruit 10 new sustainability ambassadors in our district with representation from all 4 high schools and at least 3 of 6 middle schools. We look forward to reporting next year with a team that is 3 times as big and has made critical impact in rapidly advancing a sustainable future.
Thank you, Sophia, for your report. I'm Rishi Hazra, and I'm a rising sophomore at Skyline High School of the Issaquah School District. I joined Sustainability Ambassadors last fall and have grown in not only my knowledge and understanding of the world around me, but also as a person and a leader. I now have the privilege to work alongside a team of exceptional rising 8th grade ambassadors from Pine Lake Middle School, where I graduated 8th grade from just a year and a half ago. Now, what's very unique about these 9 Pine Lake ambassadors is that they were handpicked by their teachers at Pine Lake themselves. And the really key point about that is many of our events are associated with teachers and students coming together, and the students sharing their youthful perceptions of the world around them, and the teachers using their extensive knowledge to develop new curriculum and work together to create a better world around them. Let's listen at one of these opportunities our 9 ambassadors had working with teachers.
Thank you, Rishi. Hi, I'm Selena Liu. I'm a student at Pine Lake Middle School. 3 weeks ago, the Pine Lake ambassadors all attended a teacher lab focused on integrating sustainability and problem-based learning into school curriculums. During this 3-day period, teachers came up with ways to incorporate sustainability into their own classes, while the students proposed ways to arrange different sustainable systems across all of the classes. The teacher lab was highly successful, and we hope that these teachers will inspire others to merge sustainability and problem-based learning into their lessons to encourage students to solve current problems with our society and bring upon a more sustainable future.
Hi, my name is Arushi Agarwal. We believe in leading by data-driven examples. All of us, 9 Pine Lake ambassadors, have each taken the initiative to develop and follow a personal impact statement to help model for their peers how every individual has the power to influence their community. Let's hear a few of them.
Thank you, Arushi. My name is Avi Agola, and I will take action to encourage people to become vegetarian in order to contribute to the well-being of the climate and the energy resources. As a vegetarian myself, I would help the environment by indirectly consuming less energy and water that would have been used to produce the meat. Going vegetarian could save an average of 63% in a person's carbon footprint and would help the average American save at least 120 to 240 cubic meters of water on their water footprint annually.
Thanks, Avi. My name is Nilesh Satyanarayanan, and I'll take action to only consume electricity through renewable sources of energy by installing solar panels through Sphere Solar Energy and sourcing electricity through the PSC Green Power Program in order to do my part in the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. Compared to a home that primarily uses coal, natural gas, or other types of non-renewable sources of energy, installing standard solar panels can offset around 16,000 pounds of carbon per year. Also, sourcing electricity from the PSC Green Power Program can save around 12,000 pounds of carbon dioxide annually. This can really make a beneficial difference in our communities.
Hi everyone, my name is Aditi Kamarapan, and as you all probably know, it is hard for any single ambassador to take on an impact project all on their own. That is why our goal is to lead by example, to encourage our families, friends, peers, and community leaders to follow us in our actions to make the world a more sustainable place. If everyone were to make their own impact statement, or even follow some of the set examples, we could all do our part in making our communities achieve sustainability.
Thank you, Aditi. So you mentioned that we'll be leading by modeling we'll be modeling to our peers, family, and friends. But what about an opportunity where we could really project this and show it in a large-scale event? Sophia, do you want to talk more about a potential event?
Yes, thank you. My name is Sophia Mealy. Our team at Pine Lake Middle School will be working diligently towards one major project, the Sustainability Symposium, which will include our 9 Pine Lake ambassadors modeling our own impact projects in engaging and interactive exhibits displayed similarly to an in-school science fair. With the success of this model at PLMS, our team will reach out to the rest of the middle schools in the district and eventually encourage students all over Issaquah to construct their own impact projects designed to help us reach 100% sustainability by the year of 2050. We will initiate a call to all students in and around the Issaquah School District, a call to show their communities the strength and intelligence of a youthful mind. This will empower and inspire students by showing them that their voices are capable of change and that they too can make a difference in their communities.
Thank you, Sophia. As you mentioned, this Sustainability Symposium, it's an outlet. It's a way we can unite the students of Issaquah, bring them together to develop models, and share them with the rest of the world. That is our vision, our goal as the Issaquah team, to produce a lasting impact in our society. Thank you.
Thank you to Rishi and team for that wonderful presentation. My name is Risa Suho. I'm 19 and I'm a rising sophomore at the University of Washington.
And hi, my name is Alicia Gill. I'm 17 and I go to Kent Meridian High School and Highline Community College. I'm located in the Kent School District area.
We are known as Project Manager Interns, which is a partnership between World Relief Seattle and Sustainability Ambassadors. This summer, we worked at Paradise Parking Plots located at Hillside Church in Kent.
And we serve predominantly low-income refugee and immigrant families.
So Paradise Parking Plots is a sustainable community garden that addresses needs regarding food availability, stormwater pollution, and other related systems. And they address this using cisterns, rain gardens, and composting.
We also recently finished up a summer camp where 2 days a week, in the morning we offered a Zoom call, and in the afternoon we spent 25 minutes with each family at Paradise Parking Plots.
And this experience has brought us to change how curriculum is taught in regular classrooms. Just 2 days ago, we began planning a curriculum with Kent Meridian Tech Academy teachers centered around community and environmental education.
Starting with Kent School District, we hope to inspire school districts in Washington from Highland School District to Tahoma School District. With curriculum changing how it's being taught in classrooms, we are impacting the education of middle school and high school students around Washington. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Hoda Yad, and I'm a rising junior in Lake Washington School District. And along with several other ambassadors, I have been developing the Green Jobs Youth Pathways portal to bring knowledge of green jobs to students all over the Pacific Northwest. The Green Jobs Youth Pathways portal includes a multitude of resources, starting with our jobs profiles, which details info about a certain career and what's needed to get there. Many profiles are enhanced with additional interviews with industry professionals that volunteer to tell their story. We also have jobs tables, which connect students with different classes, which lists snapshots of different careers in many different industries. And we also have pre-professional tables, which connect students with different classes, internships, and organizations to help them reach their dream career. As we grow, we hope to expand the different system sectors and build opportunities for partnerships to develop curriculum resources as well as evolve our user interface. Content creation is ongoing, but we've been simultaneously starting outreach for this resource. We've reached out to a total of 125 teachers this summer, along with a multitude more students and parents at our 2050 workouts. This kind of outreach is a staple part of our organization's function and is currently being refined on a larger scale through our communications team.
Hello, my name is Hira Rajavel, and I'm a freshman at Duke University studying economics and environmental science. And while I've been a part of Sustainability Ambassadors for the past couple years, during quarantine, I became a paid intern with Sustainability Ambassadors, creating the website you've probably seen that Hoda just showed you guys, and helping to manage the communications team.
Once again, my name is Hodayad, and on top of our Green Jobs work, I am our communications strategy team lead, as well as a paid intern working with Cascade Water Alliance for the We Need Water campaign.
The Sustainability Ambassadors communications team works as a social media marketing company. We conduct our own market research, create our own graphic designs, and carry out marketing campaigns to increase our influence online. Shameless plug, check out our work at Sustainability Ambassadors 2050 on Instagram.
We've taken a myriad of skills we've developed over quarantine and are now working with one of our longtime partners, Cascade Water Alliance, to promote their social media account, We Need Water, focused on educating the Pacific Northwest about sustainable water practices.
Essentially, our team of student ambassadors is operating as a professional social media consulting company. Using the combination of Cascade Water Alliance's expertise in everything water related and Sustainability Ambassadors' youthful internet outlook, the We Need Water campaign is off to a running start.
These opportunities to learn and grow our marketing expertise with the support of our Director of Strategic Communications, Hazel Elledge, have culminated into a highly functional team with structure, strategy, and a purpose. We are continuing to grow as a mini organization within a larger one and can't wait to see how we can empower our students with professional skill development. Thank you.
Thank you, Hoda and Hira. Another way we communicate is through writing. Just this year, we started the Sustainability Ambassadors Writers Group, the SAWG, the SOG.
We formed this group fairly recently, as Nick said, but it's just the start of our saga. We run Sustainability Ambassadors' Great Student Writing Program. On our website, you can find multiple examples of great student writing.
Hi everyone, my name is Prachi and I'm a rising 7th grader at Issaquah Middle School. Applications are open to all students and we encourage you to submit your writing. The criteria can be found on our website. Make sure your writing has a sustainable focus, it's not soggy, and submit it to info@sustainabilityambassadors.org.
Hi, my name is Mackenzie and I'm a sophomore. We are also formulating the Sustainability Ambassadors blog, which centers around relating essay projects to national and global issues.
Hello everyone, my name is Shrima Narasimhan and I'm a rising sophomore in the Lake Washington School District. The blog will premiere on our website, sustainabilityambassadors.org. Some examples of articles we have in the making are a series on interviewing other ambassadors and an article on environmental justice and intersectionality.
The SOG is developing a humanities-oriented aspect of ambassadors with the goal of forming lasting connections with students and teachers, providing a platform for young writers, and educating for sustainability through our blog posts.
We will inspire the next generation to meet their own needs without compromising the needs of generations after them.
The SOG blog clears any fog, any uncertainty about the need for transparency and global sustainability. Through writing, the SOG will inspire others to rapidly advance a sustainable future.
Thank you, communications team. This is Peter again. It's so delightful to have the student voice, the student sense of empowerment. These are the student leaders who have risen outside the curriculum in extracurricular form to take action in their community. Through the support of Cascade Water Alliance, we also have a very strong program to work with the teachers who work with all the students in the public school classroom, middle school, and high school. It's called the Teacher Fellows Program, and it's a stipend to teachers who really want to lead and create. And the purpose of the stipend is to support teachers to design a problem-based, place-based curriculum unit that meets academic standards in context of meeting community goals for sustainability. Here's the impact of Cascade's investment in a partnership with us. In the last 4 years, we have supported 37 teacher fellows who've been designing units of instruction that have inspired 48 of their peers, the teacher next door or the teacher in a middle school or high school across the district. And because of this combined impact of teachers working at the middle school and high school level, in the last 4 years, we've impacted 6,895 students. This is the value of our teacher leadership program and our student leadership program. But one wonders if the human beings are trying to finally get our act together to be stewards, what is the voice that we're not hearing? The voice underwater, literally. The voice of species in the Puget Sound ecosystem of which we're all a part. If there was a poetry slam organized for the indicator species, a competition, a tragic competition of which indicator species was truly in jeopardy, what would it sound like to hear their voices? Please welcome back members of the Sustainable Ambassadors Writers Group. The Indicator Species Poetry Slam.
I am salmon, the indicator species. Humans love me, an icon fisheries, but their arrogance is killing me, more like my enemy. Chinook on the hook of a tragic history. Sockeye, coho, pink, and chum. Your stormwater runoff is a chemical brew, a toxic stew. It's true, you have always ignored what you knew. We're on Prozac, Advil, Benadryl, Lipitor, and cocaine. You're trying to help out by drugging our pain? We're dying in masses right near your roads. Motor oil, antifreeze, 6 million drips become for us a massive load. Black dust from your car tires. Our gills feel like fire. We just need a rain garden filter, but you can't fund that? For the richest nation, that seems off kilter. We're the indicator species of broken treaties, lost cultural identities. Hey, U.S. government, meet your obligation. We need some coordination. Clean your tarnished reputation. Treaty rights are useless if the harvest is zero. Our river home is burning like Rome, like Nero, you fiddle?
Hold on a minute, Dungeness crabs are in it. Acid levels on the rise, we crab meet our demise. The acid damages our carapace. This won't help your case. Come on, show your face, you need me. I feed you, so help me, drop your greed, you must. Your seafood economy gonna get crushed. We are a key part of the chain, we are indicators, just take a look. Rockfish, coho, and chinook, they rely on our larvae for food, dude. It's without us the chain broken, ain't no more refrain, it's insane. Fish eat our juveniles, seals and octopus prey on adults. They won't eat if our shell is vile. You're still in denial? As a result, the food chain will break and you'll know that you forsake us and did not make an effort to save us. But that can change. You can change. You can change. You can change. Make amends. The end.
Pacific herring is my name. My life is treated like a game. You stain on pain, permanent blots. Who are you, you humans, to show us our spot? We hold up the soul of the whole ecosystem. Ungrateful humans, now I'm losing control. Not caring, erring, engineering our extinction. And when we die, you'll have to say goodbye to all those species that we helped exist. Countless birds, mammals, and fish. You're dispensing our lives and clenching yours too. Don't be surprised, it's all due to you. Oil drip, slip, slides, a dark rainbow black. I ain't got no options because we're left to breed toxins. Bleeding, I'm pleading, we've been deceived. It's engulfing our home, no more room to roam. Pacific herring. You humans believe you can get off scot-free. You think, let them sink, there's nothing in it for me. It'll dawn when we're gone, you need us to live on. You humans are in danger if my species is endangered. Pacific herring. I am the indicator species, the icon almost gone. A tragic thread in the busted web. Our numbers declining, dying, dead.
I am the starfish, yeah, go ahead, make a wish. A new car, a house, sneer. We writhe and swish. You ain't got no doubts living in your heated world while I'm sinking, dying beneath the underworld. Global warming, they say, is the cause of our disease. This virus is spreading further overseas. If global warming is the reason for our death, then humans are to blame for snatching our last breath. We are turning into goo as the humans fly through, and as time ticks by, we silently cry, dying and drown in the Puget Sound. Without me, commotion and chaos will occur. The urchins will devour the forest in a blur. Ecosystem crumbles. Without my aid, you gotta change your attitude before my dying days. I am the indicator species, the icon, a tragic thread in the busted web. Our numbers declining, dying, dead.
Wait. What you talking about, girl? I'm the eelgrass. Eelgrass, true indicator of our world. Funny that you're trying to convince me otherwise. Last time I checked, can you photosynthesize? But back to the brainiacs who don't even think. Humans can't examine what they're flushing down their sinks. And if I'm supposed to sit full of wit, done with it, then you're full of it. I'm harmed by your land use, agriculture too. I feel all the stressors slowly sinking in the dew of my underwater prison. Grab my ammunition, talking about declining water conditions. I provide sedentary stabilization of all the coastlines. Most times I'm fine chilling up, and now I gotta deal with humans and their structures. You obstruct us, sunlight gone, bulkheads bashing, my roots lashing. I don't deserve dying for this mess, and you be the species standing above all the rest. Let me tell you a little secret, lean in so you can hear it. You be the only linking factor causing this distress.
Oyster, oyster, oyster. Okay, like no way. You can't finish this contest without hearing my say. When I protest about these humans, you just know that I am right. They've been polluting all my water. It's getting harder and harder. There's neuter native species that are nibbling in my natural habitat. Less food and room, and dude, my secluded solitude hasn't broken. I don't mean to be outspoken, but these humans are no good, and I need a home to soak in. When I think about it more, that's not just all we do. We're filter feeders, furious because we're failing far and wide to do our jobs, and by God, I'm sorry that my hands are tied. It's not my fault they're poisoning me with their waste. I understand I'm taking too much time trying to rhyme, but my message needs to get across before the sea begins to climb, and confusedly I'll cave to the waves in my face of algae toxins garbage that I can't escape.
I am the rockfish, rumbling in the deep, spiny, grumpy. I travel 100 feet, never leaving my home. I age steadily, and now you'll know how humans pay their fee. We can't lay eggs trying to make the next generation less contaminated than the rest. And when we try to lay the eggs, there's no space, there's no place, and there's nothing to taste. 150 years ago, lands were crossed, treaties were signed, and anchors were dropped. I knew at this moment when humans set foot that every way out was blocked. Fast forward a few years, Seattle burned down, and that's when my life turned upside down. 50 years more, and Earth Day began. Humans now see things are getting out of hand. Now here we are in 2020. I'm still struggling to feed my belly. The humans overfish my brothers and sisters. I guess this is how the world will be shattered. I am the rockfish, a fish that sees all, hears all, feels all.
Orca, only 73 of our own remain. Orca, human careless ways stay the same. Orca, we feel the pain. Our struggle isn't a game. Orca, you will not extinguish our inner flame.
Orca, my human friends, we live as long as you do. Orca, unto others as you would have them unto you. Orca, what happened to your indigenous spirit? Orca, you native sense of belonging. Can you no longer hear it?
Orca, my people, my pod, we begin to fear. Orca, my food disappears. We struggle to survive. The system so compromised. We cannot hear your ferry boat, freighter noise, poised for prey. We pray for a way out of your poison cacophony of noise. I want to sing, but you bring a loud and toxic sting, so severe. Orca, my people, my pod, we begin to fear.
Orca, declining schools of salmon. Orca, my cousins, sisters, and brothers on the verge of famine. Orca, the feasts we used to eat. Orca, my mouth savoring Chinook meat. Orca, we link as wolves of the sea.
Orca, the food web is broken. Orca, we are a tourist token, selfish humans. Orca, a blighted system, bacteria rise, plastic food in disguise. I try to escape, swim. Search deep for memories to keep. Can't accolade, can't communicate. I sing a sonic underwater shout while hunger is eating me. Orca, inside out.
Orca, my number, my name, J72, my life, now a biologist's game, J72, I swim in your Puget Sound cage, J72, listen to my salient song of rage. You dump your waste into my home, these chemicals keep prying, humans! When you wake up to another privileged day, do you feel yourself dying?
Orca, when I see my sister, a new mother, Orca, who cannot assuage her grief as she carries her dead daughter for 2 weeks, trying to compose a story less tragic when the magic of life finds only disbelief. I am the indicator species, the icon, almost gone, a tragic thread in the busted web, our numbers declining, dying, dead.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I'm honored to be speaking here tonight at the 25th anniversary celebration of the ratification of the Green New Deal. I'm so excited to see the faces of our nation's hardworking Americans in our live audience here tonight. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Washington State Senator Zach Manzawi. As young adults in 2020, we saw former Washington State Governor Jay Inslee's increasing prominence in the national spotlight as an advocate for our environment when he was chosen to lead the EPA at the start of Joe Biden's presidency. We also saw the backlash he got for his advocacy, but strong grassroots outreach efforts from a surging Sunrise movement and a key shift in the demographics of our elected officials would be just the spark our nation needed to adopt such important legislation. As more women and people of color took office, our representatives placed a renewed emphasis on social equity and environmental responsibility. The Green New Deal forced the United States to seriously address climate and social justice issues, and it would bolster our economic recovery from the disastrous effects of COVID-19. It facilitated high-level job growth, gave us a clean energy grid, and updated our nation's aging infrastructure with new technology. Now I'd like to introduce my good friend Fiona McDaniel, who has worked diligently as an advocate for the full implementation of clean energy systems in the United States. Take it away, Fiona.
Thank you, Senator Benzawi. I'm Fiona, and I'm an executive financial consultant for the EcoFund firm, specializing in residential and commercial solar. It really was all about clean energy. Since I was a sustainability ambassador, I have gotten to watch residential solar become 3 times as incentivized by governments and much less expensive. From 2010 to 2020, the cost of solar technology dropped by 82%. By 2030, solar was the cheapest way for a family to get energy. Local and federal governments were working with us the whole time. After most of the military budget was repurposed in 2027, the EPA was flooded with cash. One of the biggest programs they established, in conjunction with the United Nations, was the Sustainable Business Network, or SBN. If a business met sustainability standards, such as having solar panels and living wages, it could join the SBN. Every kind of business worked to meet these standards to join the SBN because of its financial benefits, causing solar installation to spike. Now, in 2050, our energy comes entirely from renewable sources. You'd be hard-pressed to find a house, business, school, or government building without solar panels. It warms my heart to see how our work has paid off. One of my proudest moments was completing a project with Sumaid in 2034 to help Microsoft install solar panels and gray water systems. Sumaid, I've always admired the corporate work you've done.
Yeah, it's funny how you talk about Microsoft improving their connected transport system to meet the needs of this rapidly advancing sustainable world, Sumedh. Because I remember back in 2020, Microsoft was still using those big gas guzzling buses, and it's great to hear that everyone is now using these sustainable modes of transport. Speaking about transportation systems, we have improved as well. As a director of the DOT board in Washington, I was able to see the huge progression we made, which really came down to four steps. The first thing was the bioregional bullet train system, which completely changed the way we think of interstate travel. It was really thanks to Senator Benzawi that we got the policy in place between the states of the West, and now we're hearing that some states like Idaho and Nevada want in on this new sustainable mode of travel. The second change was in the trucking and freight industry. I, with the help of Senator Benzawi, put together the AEV Truck Treaty of 2025, which mandated the use of AEV, which stands for Autonomous Electric Vehicles, as you also know, on trucks all over the country. But what about if we wanted to get between cities faster and more sustainable too? We cannot use bullet train because it's too expensive and non-efficient. Here we use a light rail, which is fast and sustainable, but less expensive, so it is easy to put in place, and even the smaller cities can afford it. So in the end, we're all connected. The fourth chain was to help our elderly and disabled community. We as a DOT provide shuttles that are similar to the AEV trucks in which they are sustainable and fast. This makes sure that everybody has a way to get around. I was going to talk about 10-minute neighborhoods are evolving, but I see an expert in the room. Is that you, Shrima?
Yes, thank you, Anuj. And if you didn't know me, I'm Shrima, and in 2030, I became a history professor specializing in anthropology and sustainability at the University of Washington. My research mainly centered around early human villages, how everyone lived in proximity to each other and to natural resources, meeting spaces, and services. I've drawn so many ideas from these villages, which I've seen reflected in the 10-minute neighborhoods we all live in today. I also researched about COVID-19, which was really an opportunity to rethink how we got around. During the pandemic, we saw a reduction of car use, traffic, and commercial flight activity by almost 75%. In response, cities like New York even excluded cars from streets so we could reduce air pollution and allow bikers and pedestrians to get around safely. After the pandemic, we came to this big consensus that for the long-term health of our citizens and planet, we should adjust policies to discourage car use and instead support a shift to sustainable transportation. We accommodated to the shift by building 10-minute neighborhoods. Like Anuj mentioned, they allow residents to sustainably travel short distances to essential destinations like stores or schools. We made efficient use of land by having higher densities of residents and by employing vertical living, which is building upwards rather than outwards. Our neighborhoods are safe for all people thanks to the implementation of transit safety education for students by Senator Benzawi and women and people of color in Senate, as well as the incorporation of complete streets into neighborhoods with features like wider, safer bike lanes that are separated from roads. We brought our neighborhoods to life through placemaking, a collaborative approach to designing communities that really shows us that by understanding the needs and collective vision of community residents, we can create public spaces that benefit the well-being of everyone. In 2020, we saw an urban-suburban divide. We had this large goal to create urban villages connected by transportation that were not only affordable, but welcoming for all people. Now I'm going to turn it over to Gargi, who's an expert on how we achieve this goal.
Thank you, Shrima, and hello, everyone. It is so nice to see you all. It's so funny that we were all sustainability ambassadors at one point, and as I look around, I'm remembering my time there. At that age, I didn't really know what I wanted to be, who did, to be honest. But after what happened in 2020, I knew that social justice was my calling. Everyone was kind of going through a tough time then, but it was especially hard on Black and Brown families. They faced a disproportionately high mortality rate during the COVID-19 crisis, a high unemployment rate in the accompanying unemployment crisis, and were being targeted by police more than any other demographic in America. At that time, we didn't even know whether our democracy could take 4 more years of what it had just gone through. But out of those crises came a reckoning. People's eyes were open to the systemic racism that affected Black and Brown people every day, and we had the conversations we needed to have to address it. With COVID-19 changing our world, we knew we could create big solutions quickly, and having politicians in power who came from our communities made it that much easier.
Now, as the Equity Strategy Manager of King County, we dismantled the effects of redlining by integrating families of a diverse socioeconomic spectrum into eco-districts. Now, every citizen has access to great schools, local and organic food, and efficient public transportation. We created a high-quality and affordable daycare system so that working parents could continue supporting their family. And you probably know this, Fiona, but the solar job programs that came out of the Green New Deal, like manufacturing and installation, created so many jobs for Americans everywhere. I'm so happy that our society has become as equitable as we imagined it in 2020, and I just can't wait to see where we go from here.
Thank you, Gargi, for your work in social justice and equity. I remember earlier you briefly touched on getting locally grown organic produce for your eco districts. Similarly, I also work on integrating locally grown produce into schools. Hi, everyone. My name is Prachi, and I am the Director of Regional Food Systems for all 19 school districts in King County. Like I mentioned before, all of our schools get produce from farmers markets every week and also greenhouses. We have 27 huge regional greenhouses all over Washington, many implemented into schools and eco districts. So a big part of school curriculum is growing and taking care of plants, harvesting them, and learning to cook healthy meals with them with the produce that they grow. This is a part of farm to school education. Back in 2020, school districts used to use the cheapest possible food for lunch, covered in those plastic wrappers. It wasn't very nutritious, it wasn't tasty, there were also not very many vegetarian options. But no longer. Now there is healthy food made from the produce that we get from farmers markets and greenhouses, and students are happier and healthier because of it. Since 2035, I have worked with other people in my department and Senator Benzawi to create policies centered around vegetarianism. I can now say that since 2048, all of the school districts in King County have a fully vegetarian school lunches. It's better for the environment and it's better for student health. I am so happy that I can say our food system has completely turned around, and food waste is a great example of that. We've almost completely eliminated food waste at schools and restaurants, which is also thanks to Monit and his efforts to have zero waste.
Thank you, Prachi. But in all honesty, food waste wasn't all that difficult. I'm 44 this year, and the 20s seems so long ago. But back in 2020, America wasted almost 40% of its food on a yearly basis. We had these strange terms like ugly produce, and expiry dates were arbitrary. It was only a matter of 5 years of dedicated hard work to bring this down to only 2%, and it's still being reduced to this day. Plastic waste, though, that was the tough nut to crack. It was just about the time the Green New Deal was implemented when everything changed. As sustainability consultant for Amazon back then, I'd gone on a journey to document environmental practices around the world. And what stuck with me wasn't so much the policies, nor the technology. It was the biodiversity. I was inspired to found a now globally renowned sustainable innovation firm called Imatera, collaborating with researchers at the MIT Biomimicry Lab with focus on R&D and real-world implementation. And we looked to nature for answers to bridge the 10% of waste between our nation and a 100% circular economy. And it did not disappoint. We were falling behind. Around the world, these communities, everything they did was connected with nature, and nature is connected within itself. The phosphorus cycle, nitrogen cycle, water cycle, cycles. I work on a zero waste trajectory, the last nail in the circular economy, cycles. 90% was the number. We'd reached a 90% circular economy by 2026, but it wasn't enough. We had a 2.5 million square kilometer plastic patch in the Pacific. We were churning out new plastic more and more every year, and we didn't have a solution to clean up our world and turning up tap. So we turned to these cycles to close the 10% gap. At Imatera, we're using advanced neural networks to analyze natural solutions and alternatives and apply naturally occurring features to our artificial problems. Biomimicry. We mirror natural cycles and apply them to our own resource use and manufacture, and focus on dynamic materials like mushrooms or mycelium growth, allowing for easily adaptable solutions to various scenarios and demands while remaining biodegradable. You know, we've done so much in the last 30 years. It's good to be here in this museum. My personal favorite exhibit is just at the end of this hall around the corner. The golden room with the pedestal, the single pedestal, and atop that pedestal is a garbage can. They feel prehistoric by now. The last 30 years have been a whirlwind, haven't they? Santoshi, I believe you're the expert on this.
Yes, thanks, Monit. My name is Santoshi, and I'm honored to have held this celebration at the Car Museum, standing for, of course, Curious Ancient Relics. All my life, even when I was just a sustainability ambassador, even when I was just part of SA's writing program, I have wanted to make a difference in our community. I get a lot of questions, understandably, about what can a museum curator do to help their community, but I am no ordinary museum curator. Oh, I have to point out the last lump of coal on Earth, just behind you, Senator Benzawi. It cost me a fortune to book, but I got it. The Bezos myth is wrong. And if you look over there to your right, you will see the transportation section of our museum, which features an original Orca cart collection donated by several Seattle high school students from the class of 2020, the COVID class. The City of Seattle's innovative program actually gave free Orca passes to all these students. I also have over 100 varieties of exhaust pipes and a combustion engine. Remember those? Oh, please take a minute to look at my full-scale replica of an American suburban lawn right over there in that special exhibition hall. Going over there to the food section, there's a boba tea container and single-use coffee cup and flushable wipes. As you can see, sustainability is not just about predicting the future. It's not just about looking forward. We need to go back and benchmark ourselves to see where we came from, measure progress, and think about how our world used to run, or rather drive. Senator Benzawi, I will turn it over to you for closing comments. But before, please make sure to come visit my museum in Kirkland, as we've got a family special coming up for the anniversary of the Green New Deal. Remember, we are 10 minutes away from everywhere.
Thanks, Santoshi. I've always been a really big fan of your car museum, and it's great to be speaking in this huge auditorium that was built with the generous financial support of EcoFund, Imaterra, and Microsoft. I didn't know about that last lump of coal. I'd always heard that Jeff Bezos actually bought it a few years ago for his exclusive carbon collection. I want to thank everyone for participating in this presentation tonight. Without our hard work, none of this could have happened. And now that we've built a sustainable lifetime for ourselves, let's make sure that this important work is continued for generations. We all learned about sustainability as ambassadors so many years ago, so let's make sure that we're meeting the needs of our current generation without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Thank you.
And now it's time for the great disruption debate. I hope you all aren't tired out there. Here we go. The great disruption debate involves 4 of our very skilled debaters, Arya, Akshay, Santoshi, and Shrima. They have researched steadily for the past weeks and months. They are ready. Each speaker will have no more than 2 minutes to build his or her argument of why their disruption is the most probable, most systemic, most impactful, and at the greatest scale, at the greatest speed. Our speakers will present in alphabetical order. After they each present their arguments, they will follow these with 30 additional seconds to offer a rebuttal of why their disruption is the greatest and has the most potential to rapidly advance a sustainable future. Now, the audience needs to play a role in the judging. So here is the criteria. Get ready, audience. Memorize these criteria. We'll show them to you one more time at the end of the debate so that you can pass judgment and vote. Which of our debaters demonstrates the most obvious content mastery? Which debater is very, very persuasive? Which debater cleverly structured their argument? What about engaging style, word choice, voice, gesture? And who is most concise but most comprehensive? We will now begin in alphabetical order. The ambassadors each can introduce themselves, name and school and grade, and then begin your arguments. You'll have exactly 2 minutes. Arya?
Hello, my name is Arya Poete. Next year, I will be a freshman at Redmond High School, and my topic is Nations Ban Fossil Fuel Cars. When we think of climate change, we often think of it as an indestructible monster that will continue to consume us, no matter what actions we take. We may feel that we are too feeble to fight its rapid and enveloping dominance. However, there is one solution strong enough to drastically reduce climate change. That solution is to exponentially decrease the impact of climate change's number one contributor. In this case, that is the burning of fossil fuels. The second largest contributor of the burning of fossil fuels is transportation use. A typical passenger vehicle emits about 4.6 metric tons of carbon dioxide each year. Think about it. This is how much carbon dioxide we are unnecessarily releasing into the air when instead we can choose sustainable means of transport. Instead of causing our Earth so much harm, we could stop and realize that there is one solution that has such a large impact that it could exponentially decrease pollution. The solution is for nations to ban fossil fuel cars. This one act will eradicate this issue by saving us about 4.6 billion tons of carbon dioxide per year. It will drastically reduce the impacts of global warming on millions of people, millions of animals, the good of nature, and the good of our own impeccable Earth. If all nations banned fossil fuel cars, we would be able to defeat that indestructible monster by rapidly advancing a sustainable future. Thank you.
Very persuasive. Thank you, Arya. Up next is Akshay, and he'll build an argument for a different disruption. This is the great disruption debate. Akshay?
Hi, everyone. My name is Akshay Vikaria, and I'm a freshman at IHS, Issaquah High School. I know that if Cascadia succeeds from the Union, it will cause the most systematic, positive disruption to rapidly advance a sustainable future. Before I start my speech, I'd like the audience to know that the country of Cascadia is made from the states of Washington and Oregon. To begin, Cascadia cares about climate action. In the last decade, people have made Cascadia more eco-friendly. As a result, these two states care the most about climate when compared to other places in the Union. In the greenest states Forbes list, states were ranked based on carbon footprint, air quality, water quality, waste disposal, and electricity consumption. At the top of the list, one would find Oregon and Washington ranked second and third respectively. In addition, both states have passed many climate action policies. In 2019, policymakers drafted state laws that called for an investment in electric vehicle infrastructure and efficiency standards for all appliances sold in Washington. Overall, I have proven that Washington and Oregon care about the environment. I believe that based on their actions, both of these states will continue to lead in sustainability. However, these states are hindered by the rest of the Union. If these states left the USA, Cascadia would be able to pass more climate action laws. Generally, people from Cascadia care about the environment. In a study done by Google Trends, people from Washington Googled how to recycle, how to reuse, how to compost, electric cars, carpool, the most in the entire Union. Obviously, people here care about the environment. However, I don't know if that can be said about the rest of the USA. In September, the Renew Oregon Coalition introduced 3 climate-focused ballot initiatives calling for 100% clean electricity by 2045 and 100% economy by 2050. But Oregon Secretary of State Bev Clarino rejected them, declaring they were unconstitutionally broad. Essentially, the plans to make Oregon more sustainable never made it to the state Senate because it was unconstitutional. If Cascadia seceded from the USA, this law would have passed since it received unanimous support from state senators. However, the Union made it impossible for the state to adopt a sustainable plan. Sure, in a few decades, the Constitution will be amended so it better suits our needs. But the real question is, do we have the time? If Cascadia becomes an independent state, it will stand as a model for climate action. That is why I know it will be the positive disruption to a sustainable future.
Thank you, Akshay, for arguing for the independence of Cascadia, separating from the United States. Thank you, Arya, before for nations ban fossil fuel cars. Up next, third of our 4 ambassadors in the Great Disruption Debate is Santoshi. Santoshi, you'll have 2 minutes.
When my video's off, you can only see my name. That's what a plethora of cows and pigs and chickens are crying out. Their lives have been reduced to utter nothingness, to only the name of the food which they consume. Cows are beef and pigs are pork. My name is Santoshi Pisupati, and I'm a sophomore in the Lake Washington School District. What do we need to survive? Yes, clean air, a Green New Deal, but I'm talking before either of those problems existed. Our most basic human comfort is necessity and food. And for America, food is meat. But let's examine the facts. If cows were a country, they would be the third highest emitters of greenhouse gases in the world. Don't talk about clean air and climate change without discussing our diet. The average American family uses about 400 gallons of water a day, but if they eat just 4 cheeseburgers, that number goes up to, you are hearing me right, 7,000 gallons. You cannot talk about reducing our water footprint without diet. And despite the numbers that you have just heard, only half of Americans claim they are trying to reduce their meat consumption. We cannot talk about changing our values, our justice system, without talking about the culture of our diet. But wait. Life doesn't have to be like this. Imagine all of us, all 300 of us, went vegetarian. 25% of people aged 25 through 34 have already done it. It's not impossible. We can join them. What is our mission? To rapidly advance a sustainable future. I know you've heard that at least 5 times throughout our presentation. And how can we rapidly advance a sustainable future? By making our goals global. Everyone has the ability to say no to eating animals. It takes 2 letters. Giving up meat will be the change that not just affects the next 10 or 100 or 1,000 years of humanity, but the change that affects all of life. Can pigs fathom the scale at which any of these other movements are taking force? Probably not, but they do know that if you go vegetarian, that saves their life. No more meat. Thank you.
And thank you, Santoshi, for the end of meat argument in the Great Disruption debate. Before that, we heard from Akshay on an independent Cascadia country seceding from the Union. And before that, Arya on nations ban fossil fuel cars. Finally, we have Shrima, and she will build her case over the next 2 minutes for the Great Disruption. Shrima?
Hello, everyone. My name is Shrima Narasimha, and I'm a rising sophomore in the Lake Washington School District. 100 years ago, on August 26, 1920, the 19th Amendment was added to the U.S. Constitution, guaranteeing the right to vote for all women after a century-long movement spurring the nation toward a more equitable future. In 1971, we passed the 26th Amendment, lowering the federal voting age from 21 to 18 in response to the outrage that our country could send 18-year-olds to fight in the Vietnam War, but did not give them the basic right to vote. But what about youth under the age of 18? Many of us here today, including myself, are waiting until the day we can vote. But is there a possibility that we don't have to wait for long? Lowering the federal voting age to 16 will help us reach a sustainable future most rapidly because it all starts with our youth. Youth initiatives have led to remarkable governmental policy changes on local and national scales. In 2016, thousands of youth protested against the Dakota Access Pipeline, which endangered the people of the Standing Rock Sioux Reservation. The construction of the pipeline was halted a few months after, and the youth had proven once again that they can push for change. The majority of 16-year-olds have the civic knowledge to vote responsibly, many already advocating in front of legislative bodies, while others are employed. When the voting age was lowered to 16 in Tacoma Park, Maryland, the town saw a voter turnout rate that was 4 times higher among 16-year-olds than among older voters. So we need younger voters to reach a higher voter turnout, but we also need them to bring their passion for refusing to accept the status quo. By instilling the habit of voting at the age of 16, younger citizens are more likely to vote for the remainder of their lives while being represented in politics and having a say in the policies which will affect their lives. It's no surprise that youth will be the driving force for change and progress. By lowering the voting age to 16, youth can actively help shape a nation that will take the necessary steps to reach a sustainable future for us all. Thank you.
And thank you, Shrima. Now our four debaters will have just a moment reflection as the audience reviews our criteria for voting. You will have 30 seconds and only 30 seconds to make a rebuttal. We'll follow with the same order: Arya, Akshay, Santoshi, Shrima. In just a moment, we'll begin. I'll screen share so the audience is reminded of our very challenging criteria for the great disruption debate. Obvious content mastery among the four. Who is winning the debate? Very persuasive among the four. Who's winning? Cleverly structured argument among the four. Who is winning? Engaging style, word choice, voice, gesture. Concise, but comprehensive. And now we begin in the same order. Arya, you'll be first. You'll have exactly 30 seconds to argue against the others and for yours. You may begin.
Let's look. 87% of all carbon dioxide emissions come from fossil fuels. 22% of these emissions come from the transportation sector, which includes the usage of fossil-fueled cars. Now, I agree that transportation usage is not the main contributor to the fossil fuel carbon emissions. However, fossil fuels contribute drastically to carbon dioxide emissions, and transportation is the second largest contributor to fossil fuel emissions.
And thank you. Next up, Akshay, you have 30 seconds for rebuttal.
I believe all my opponents propose valid solutions to advance a sustainable future. However, there have been many attempts by local policymakers to ban fossil fuel cars or reduce meat consumption in America, but have failed due to interference by federal government. If Cascadia became an independent country, we will be able to implement all their solutions and more. 76% of Washington's population and 84% of Oregon's population supports climate action plans. That's way more than 50. One simple ballot and we can implement all of my opponent's solutions and much more instead of convincing the whole country to remove their cars or reduce meat consumption. Thanks.
Thank you, Akshay, for your rebuttal. Santoshi, you'll have 30 seconds.
As Mahati said at the beginning of this event, we are not waiting for our government to initiate action. What is this debate about? Is it about a law or a policy or a simple rule? Or is it about culture? Is it about changing the way our society thinks? If you give a man a fish, he'll live for a day, but if you teach a man to fish, he will live forever. The end of meat considers all of this and more. It can affect technological progress, climate change, and most importantly, the way, not just America, not just the US, not just North America, but the way the world thinks. America rests on meat. What better way to cause a disruption than to target that and to take that away forever?
And thank you, Santoshi, for your rebuttal. Final rebuttal before audience voting will come from Shrima.
I agree. All of these arguments will be crucial in reaching a sustainable future and reaching a sustainable future quickly. Well, until then, we will witness the 2020 US presidential election, and this election will pave the way for all of these changes that we need to take. Well, this cannot be possible without the powerful process of voting. By including youth in this process that has so much weight on the workings of our government, we can truly make change. And truly, the policies and changes that will come in the next 10, 20, 30 years would not be possible without voting. And voting for leaders that support the legislation needed to do everything from avoiding a climate catastrophe to reinvigorating the economy, all to reach a more sustainable future. And we all need to agree that we need to involve youth in our efforts because today's youth are tomorrow's future.
And thank you. And now, audience, you will have the polling information. So check on the link on your screen and make your assessment. I will read the Verbally, I will share again with you the criteria. Obvious content mastery, very persuasive. Cleverly structured argument, engaging style, word choice, voice, gesture, concise but comprehensive. Make your vote, and Rishi, you will take it from here.
Hello, I'm Rishi. Please just select the link as Peter said. It's in the YouTube live stream chat, and select which great decision on the Peter gave you has the greatest significance to achieving sustainability. So I'll go ahead and screen share some live results here. Please make sure to go ahead and vote before you see this. Don't let it influence your choices. We see the end of meat is climbing quite rapidly. 43 votes, 44 now as I speak. But the others are not quite far behind, around 16 votes. I wonder why. Probably because each of these disruptions have an impact. They can bring about sustainability, banning fossil fuels, creating an independent Cascadia nation, and lowering the federal voting age to 16. We see the end of meat is still climbing ahead, 49 votes. Let's see how much further it can go. The other ones are climbing too. We have an independent Cascadia slowly climbing up to 14 votes now. The others are quite near there, 16 and 13 for the fossil fuels and federal age, respectively. The end of meat is still going up, 50 votes at this point. Let's see if this ratio continues.
And we'll call it in 10 seconds. Last voting.
There we are with a few last votes coming in. The ratio seems to be the same. We have a clear winner, I see. The End of Meat by Santoshi Pisapati. But it's very important to emphasize that it's not the end of meat that is winning. It is our generation that is winning. Each of these great disruptions, the end of meat, banning fossil fuels and lowering the federal age, and also developing an independent Cascadia nation, is the key to our generation, this COVID generation, our unstoppable generation, to achieving sustainability. Thank you to all of our speakers for presenting their wonderful debates. They and us, as well as you who support us, are the key to a brilliant and sustainable future. Thank you all.
We'll have one final title slide, and we are going to be turning one last time to the Sustainability Ambassadors Writers Group for their take on the spoken word piece called The COVID Generation, the Unstoppable COVID Generation.
We are the COVID generation. We are not about chaos. We are about possibilities. We are unstoppable. In India, I watched as lawmakers littered and stray dogs darted down the dark alleys. It's only been 5 years that I've lived in the United States, but here, I've watched something different. Lawmakers litter, but people don't like it. Lost dogs wander, but people don't like it. I am the COVID generation, and this is my disruption.
We are the COVID generation. From this hurricane comes a roaring wave, growing up, reaching higher than past generations ever could. We're coming. I'm coming. I'm coming with a megaphone for Black artists. I'm growing taller with a commitment to identify and serve organizations advancing racial equity. I'm crashing down with a commitment to co-facilitate learning circles on privilege, environmental justice, and equitable outcomes. I am the COVID generation.
We did not ask for this crisis or for it to crawl in and vacuum our emissions up, but we will accept it not as a burden, but as an opportunity to catapult our ways to sustainability. I grow food in a garden, tomatoes craving compost and harvest, because a closed grocery store is an open backyard gate. We've asked for another chance to set things right, and we know this crisis is nothing but a blessing sent in disguise of a warning. We accept this challenge, for we are the COVID generation.
My family has always been shopping for organic local food. This helps the farmers stay on land and the salmon flow peacefully in the streams. When the virus hit us, we didn't have the opportunity to go to our local organic grocery store to buy our vegetables. We were stuck at home and we didn't have a choice. But this made us explore our hobbies, our passions. It gave us space for personal growth. We built our own organic vegetable beds and started growing our own food. We get the opportunity of eating out of our own backyard. This is the new normal. I am the COVID generation.
My family is blessed. We are able to fulfill all our needs with no thought on what businesses have to do to give them to us. As this COVID time hit us, we've learned. We've learned how to use it, how hard it is for local and small businesses to get through. But we are going to use our privilege and stand up for local businesses through our wallets. We have the power. We can make the choice. We are the COVID generation.
I used to have nightmares. Nightmares filled with my house flooding, driving away from Bellevue and watching it burn from wildfires. I was only 6 or 7, but I already felt the imminence of climate change. Our entire generation does. We are growing up with it, and as I grow up, I will take my driver's license and choose public transport. I will take my teenage years and use them to make a difference for my world, because I do not want the future generations to face the same nightmares.
I didn't decide to be vegetarian. It was decided for me before I was born, but I wouldn't change a thing because now I know the benefits that being a vegetarian diet brings. Raising livestock takes up so much land. Cattle release tons of methane emissions, but you can help by just changing what you cook in your kitchens. All my parties are completely vegetarian. I can encourage others to do the same. Bring a vegetarian diet lunch once or twice a week. You can encourage others to do the same because we are the COVID generation.
I have always been inspired by my grandmother. She's always wanted me to sew, and now I am learning. I learn from her every day. Yesterday, she stopped me before I threw my water away. No water goes to waste here, I heard her say. I am still learning. We need a circular economy. The fashion industry produces 20% of global wastewater, 20% of global wastewater, and 10% of global carbon emissions. We will reassess. We will create a circular economy, and we will live sustainably. I am the COVID generation. We are the COVID generation. We are not about chaos. We are about possibilities. We are unstoppable.
And so we come to the conclusion of our evening and begin with and end with the beginning. You can do 3 things. Take the learning and put it into action. Make a donation in the future, this organization, these young people, to join our mission in rapidly advancing a sustainable future. That's what you can do tonight. And tomorrow, you go to our website and look up our solar neighborhood campaign, and then you call Sphere Solar Energy and get that free assessment. And let's solarize. Let's reduce our climate footprint. We'll end with a Hand Symphony, and this time joined by Mahadi's spoken words. All hands, all hands. Mahadi, you take the first phrase and we'll join you. And when the hands slip down out of the frame, we'll be done. Thank you everyone for joining us. All hands are needed.
Our captain calls all hands to set sail tomorrow. We are living on time that is borrowed. What makes us look towards places we are strangers when we can first save our own planet free it from all dangers. All hands on deck, all hands on deck. The storms are brewing, but we can prevent our undoing. We must come together immediately. We can reach sustainability expediently, putting our hands together, hoisting our sails. In the face of the climate crisis, our collective impact prevails. Our captain calls all hands to set sail today. We are our own captains. We drive our own ship in the face of this storm, a storm of changing climate and injustice. It is our many-colored hands that will hoist up the sails of justice, sustainability, of equity. All hands on deck, all hands on deck. Together, we will steer our ship out of this calamity. Together, with the actions we take now, we will restore balance to the three spheres: equity, the environment, and the economy. Together, we will steer our ship to a future filled with beauty, hope, and harmony.